In this video, I will be discussing how distance education is impacting special education teachers, and we're not okay. Hey guys, it's Cindy Lumpkin, and as you know, I am a special education teacher, and tonight I really want to discuss with you guys how distance education is impacting special education teachers. Now, I do have a visitor with me. It's night and I was like in my little pajamas. I have my cup of coffee, so I thought I was gonna be good and you guys were gonna have me all to yourself. But someone woke up, so he's gonna be here with me in this video. But as a special education teacher, and I'm sure like many of you, I am a member of many different special education teacher groups. And today I saw something on Facebook that really just made my heart sink. And I want to read the post that I saw today to you guys. So a special education teacher posted this in one of the groups that I am a member of. Anyone feel like throwing the towel in and saying, I am done? I think what surprised me more than anything, more than just the post, was the fact of how much engagement that one post got. And it was like over 600-700 people engaging, whether they were liking or whether or not they were commenting. And many of the comments were in agreement. I was like, wow, like we are really in a state right now. I didn't post because although I definitely can empathize with where they are, I do realize my situation is a bit different. If you guys don't know, I actually started my own school about 7 years ago. So a lot of the things that I had to deal with in public education, and a lot of the things that that particular teacher and many others who are in agreement with him about throwing in the towel have to do, it doesn't impact me. So but just being in this pandemic in general, having to be at home, having to take care of my 3-year-old, 10-year-old who are all doing distance learning, it has been getting to me too, but not at the level they have been. So I really didn't comment, but it was one of those things that made you go, And so it was like, wow, like people are really stressed out. They are really frustrated. So I'm gonna read a couple of the posts that really stood out to me to you guys. This one says, and like I said, like there were tons of yes, yeah, sure do. But this teacher took the time to kind of really write some things out. She said, yeah, every day, exclamation point. As soon as I find another job that pays the same, I'm leaving. This business is too demanding. Everything is our fault. In order to be great, you about have to work 24 hours a day. This virtual requires almost triple the planning, yet the kids won't even do the work. I'm always stressed. My building, I am learning since I am new, can be catty. The talking behind your back is a problem for me. Also, the fact that I am graded based on a job I don't do. I have to lie and pretend I do one thing for those stupid observations. It's all a joke. Why does SPED belong to the building? We should be observed by the SPED office. Most principals have never worked in SPED. They don't know a good lesson. I hate it all. Don't even get me started about the pay, which is not even comparable to surrounding districts. She says, yep, this career ain't the noble career it used to be. Oh, and the PTSD, anxiety, stress disorder, and for some, drinking is a daily way of life. Exit, please. Like, man, she is like, you know, teachers are experiencing PTSD. Like, I mean, obviously I know the stress and the anxiety is there, and I could probably guess it, like I said, because I'm not necessarily surrounded by tons of teachers in the environment or the context that they are teaching in. Is not something I always think about. And knowing that I have this platform, I really felt like I really needed to do a video on this and kind of talk about it. Like, honestly, more people need to know how teachers really feel, particularly special education teachers. We often work in silos. Some of us are the only teacher in our building, or maybe the only special education teacher in your grade level. And let's face it, general ed teachers, like what they do is really just completely different from what our expectations are. So whenever you are having a moment or you need something, they just may not understand or get it. And so when you don't have a confidant to talk to and someone who really understand what you're going through, I can definitely see all of these mental health things taking a toll on you. And it's really sad. But like I said, I decided not to really post on it. But I was like considering it. But as I continued to scroll down the thread, I saw this post. And it was obviously from a newbie. You okay? Let's see. She said, "You guys make me not want to pursue this career at all." At that point, I felt like I needed to say something because I don't want to deter other special education teachers or potential special education teachers from this field. We need as many as we can get. I'm sure we're already experiencing a shortage of good special education teachers, special education teachers in general, right? But it was also like, wow, it's this bad that for a young soon-to-be teacher to hear real talk, to hear the truth of real teachers, to really consider changing their profession. And so once again, I think more of us really need to speak up and to talk about like what our experiences are. Now what I did respond to that particular poster, and what I told her was basically started out saying special education is hard, period, because it is. We just have just a lot more to contend with than the general ed teacher. And I don't want to say one is harder than the other one. They are different. And I just want to say it is hard, because I don't want to minimize somebody else's workload. But the amount of paperwork that we're responsible for is out of this world, in addition to everything else that a teacher would normally do. Then not to mention writing IEPs and so forth. And so most teachers, you're used to that. We are also used to being alone, maybe not having other special education teachers to talk to bounce ideas off of, and sometimes not even to ask for advice, especially when you are the go-to person in the building. So I told her that special education is hard, period, but it is so rewarding because we also do it for the kids. Now I told her times are a bit different because our already hard is even complicated by being in this situation where we're living in a pandemic. We are still expected to be these heroes in a pandemic, whether you are doing virtual, face-to-face, or doing both. So it adds a lot more onto special education teachers, or teachers in general, but we're talking about special education teachers, than what we're used to. And so I kind of left off with telling her that our experiences, like not to really base her decision based on what she's reading, although this is these teachers' truth, if that makes sense. So I definitely didn't want to discourage her from being in the profession, but I didn't want to minimize all of those special education teachers actually speaking their truth either. Sometimes I don't really think people understand the amount of pressure that teachers in general, special education teachers in particularly, carry as they wake up every day to do their job. I have another one that I want to read to you. Okay, this is this is actually coming from a retired teacher. She just retired, I believe. She said, I did. After 38 years, I had had enough. Tired of the stress, paperwork, assessments, parents' complaints, accusations. At one time, I really loved my job. I really did. But there were too much job demands and pressures. Retirement is wonderful. Let's see, some of the other things that I remember, or that teachers have to contend with, and I believe the post that I read earlier kind of mentioned this, like administrators, unless they were in the field of special education, they don't know. Like, special education is so technical, it's so law driven, and most of them haven't studied the law, and so they don't know, and they expect special education teachers to look like what they're used to, which is the general population. I've had principals to ask me to do things that were totally illegal. So it started out with them not knowing that it was illegal, but even when you told them, then that expectation is still there. She also mentioned about the fact of pretending to do something for observation. Once again, I remember that. We don't, especially when you are teaching in a self-contained environment, lessons don't always look like what a general ed teachers would look like. I also recall one teacher saying that she had to write a lesson plan, but she had a room full of like 10 kids, and all 10 kids were on different levels, and she was asking for advice basically on how you write a lesson plan without it taking 5 hours to incorporate all of that in it. And so what we deal with is a lot, and I want to really just give voice to that, and I want people to understand that. But I also want people, or special education teachers in general, I know a lot of times we are silent, we don't speak up, and I think that for me was something that hurt sometimes. But when I was effective and really trying to explain to my admins, then they got it, you know. So I think we need to really be more vocal about how schooling looks for us. And I also want to, I don't want this video to be so long because it's time for me to go to bed and I have to put Boo Boo up. But tomorrow I am going to do a video talking about some things that special education teachers can do just to protect your mentality, one, and to not experience the burnout, because I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of us that are in special education or have worked in it a while, a lot of the hard stuff, the stuff, the difficult stuff, the stuff that requires so much work, like the IEPs, we may hate them, but they come along with the job, right? But we also have to know or get to a point where we are not burning ourselves out to the point that we're ready to throw in the towel. I feel like we have to be strategic and plan ahead to be able to not get to those points. And there are some specific things that you can do. And so tomorrow I want to discuss some of those. So if you will, this is like Vlogmas season, and I am trying to do a video a day. I don't know if it will happen, but I'm definitely coming back and we'll have a video for you guys on tomorrow about things that we can do to really protect our mental health, and things that we can do that will put us in a better position to transition out of our jobs when we need to. Now, am I advocating for special education teachers to quit? No, but I also understand that life happens, burnout happens, and we have to protect our peace. So I am gonna get my boo-boo, whose name is Jackson Alexander, by the way. I should have introduced him to you guys earlier. But I'm gonna get him to bed, and I will meet you guys back here on tomorrow. If you are new to my channel, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave your comments below on the fact of how you feel this whole situation, distance learning or distance education, is impacting special education teachers and teachers in general. I think we have to just make sure these types of conversations come outside of our teacher groups, outside of our special education teacher groups, and it needs to get into the mainstream so people can know how we're being impacted. All right, love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.